college football now. We got some Big Ten action tonight on Fox. Ohio State taking center stage while they march their way to another Big Ten title. First things first, Ohio State. Tonight, here it is, the reigning Big Ten champs kicking off their season in prime time. Number 4, Ohio State taking on a pretty good Minnesota team, 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. So let's stay right here with tonight's big game. Who better to break it down than a former Buckeye, 2-time Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time All-American, and all-around great guy, James Laurinaitis. Good morning, James. Here to talk some college football with us. We're so excited to have you. Get us ready for tonight. Help us set the table for the big game. What are you looking forward to seeing from the Buckeyes tonight?
Well, I think the easy answer is C.J. Stroud, right? New quarterback starting in Columbus. But for me, what I'm looking at is this Ohio State defense fixed? The last time they were out there against Alabama, to be quite honest, it was embarrassing as a former Buckeye to watch that. I've been a part of those before in the past, and all offseason you have to watch the film and correct it. But is this secondary ready to compete? Minnesota has one wide receiver, Chris Ottman-Bell, who's very talented. It won't be a test like in Alabama, like a Clemson, like in Oklahoma. So if there are some issues, I think there are some things to kind of look down the future of the schedule and be concerned about. Last year, they gave up the most points in program history and the most passing yards per game in program history. So definitely something that I'm looking at tonight.
James, you mentioned the four teams: Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson. This is an unbelievable stat. College football playoff's been around for 7 years. The last 6 years, 3 of those 4 teams every single year have been in the college football playoff. But it's never been all 4 of them. There's just kind of been a rotation, right? Mm-hmm. Which of those 4 is, in your opinion, most likely to miss out on the college football playoff this year of the 4 overwhelming favorites?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oklahoma, and I think it only has to do with the fact of Iowa State in their conference. Now, last year, Iowa State beat them in Ames. They won, and then in the Big 12 title game on the rematch, they lost by 6. So there's a belief in Iowa State, and Iowa State has 3 preseason All-Americans. I don't think that they're going to flinch when they play the Sooners. Now, do I think it will happen? No, but you're going to force me to pick one of these teams. I'm picking Oklahoma. Yeah. I think that Iowa State is a team with Matt Campbell, the way he's jobbed, Breece Hall at running back. You got Mike Rose at linebacker, Brock Purdy. They have a tight end who's extremely talented, All-American as well. I just think they have a belief and talent that if anybody was going to knock a team out, maybe it's the Cyclones beating Oklahoma once, and maybe that's enough in this playoff era.
Yeah. So follow-up then is, if we do get 3 of the 4, but there is an open spot for, one of the others, and the other is one of the other 125 D1 college football teams that aren't those 4, who do you think could slide in to that not extra, but that 4th playoff spot if they go 3 out of 4 again?
I think that USC out west is very intriguing. Can any Pac-12 team go undefeated? I think an undefeated Pac-12 team does get into the playoff. Oregon seems to be a popular pick, but I think Oregon is going to go to Columbus and struggle, and I don't know if that will knock them out permanently for the season. USC's games, they have Utah at home, at Notre Dame, at Arizona State. If they wipe the table and win the Pac-12 championship, I think they're in. Another team to pay attention to, Nick, is Cincinnati as well. Cincinnati with Desmond Ridder at quarterback. They have a talented secondary as well. Luke Fickell's done a tremendous job. They play 2 road games in the non-conference, at Indiana and at Notre Dame. If they're able to wipe the slate and go undefeated, I know they're a group of 5, and it's not popular to pick one of them, and not a group of 5 has ever been in, but they're starting the season ranked number 8. It's not like they're starting in years past, these group of 5 teams like UCF, unranked or way down in the 20s. The only problem there, Nick, is Cincinnati, if they do beat Indiana, and Indiana plays Iowa on Saturday, and they lose to Iowa, or then Indiana loses to Ohio State, and maybe they lose to Penn State, what is the national perception then of the Hoosiers? Will it still carry weight at the end of the year? And same with Notre Dame, right? Notre Dame loses to USC. Notre Dame loses to Cincinnati, and everyone's saying, well, it was a down year for the Irish. You can already hear the excuses building up to keep an undefeated Cincinnati out.
All right, James, so we know we're in a new era of college sports with name, image, and likeness. And you mentioned earlier the Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud, who they've got high hopes for, and rightly so. They got this other kid, Quinn Ewers, who should be a senior in college or high school, but he graduated early, went to Ohio State early, so he could capitalize on name, image, and likeness. And he just signed a 3-year, $1.4 million deal with a company, and he's what? Is he 4th string? But he's behind Stroud, clearly. So I'm just wondering, could something like that, when a guy that's not playing is making that type of money, can that cause any dissension or jealousy or anything in the locker room? Is that something that teams and coaches are going to have to look out for?
Not if he picks up dinners. If he's a guy taking the tab for some of the other players, I think he'll be all right. It's hard, right? Because these are kids. These are 18, 19-year-olds. When you're in the NFL locker room and someone gets paid, you don't really talk about another guy's